Welcome to RG News. Today we're going to discuss the top P10 AI news stories of July 8, 2025. The world of AI and IT, it's just moving so incredibly fast, isn't it? Trying to keep up sometimes feels, well, impossible.
It really does, like drinking from a fire hose, as they say.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive. We're focusing on just one day, July 7th, 2025, to pull out the really crucial signals, the underlying trends. Our mission here is to give you, our listener, a kind of shortcut to understanding what's going on. Especially that tension, the one between just relentless innovation and this growing urgent need for control and responsibility.
Absolutely. And July 7th was, well, it was quite a day for seeing those big trends crystallize. We saw more democratization of AI power. Think open models, personal supercomputers, cloud access.
Right.
But also, the flip side, regulation getting real teeth.
Yeah.
Moving beyond just talk into actual painful enforcement, like with the EU AI Act.
And AI itself is becoming something more fundamental, wouldn't you say, like a core engine for discovery.
Definitely. Accelerating science, synthetic biology, quantum physics. It's not just optimization anymore, it's creation.
Which, of course, brings up the tough stuff. Security, ethics, algorithmic bias isn't theoretical now. Deepfakes, vulnerabilities, they're real-world headaches.
And that's the core tension driving everything, isn't it? This wild, unbridled innovation bumping up against this desperate need for guardrails, for governance, for just getting a handle on it all. The whole ecosystem is kind of growing up fast.
Okay, let's dive into that tension. First up, Europe's AI Act just landed its first major blow, a huge fine against a U.S. tech giant. Big news.
Huge is right. The European Commission slammed Innovate AI, that's the company, with an $800 million fine.
Wow, 800 million. What for?
It was about their recruitment AI, something called Talent Match AI. The Commission found it violated key parts of the Act: transparency, robustness, human oversight. Basically the core principles.
And what was the striking part, the specific issue?
Well, the really damaging finding was that the system was biased. It systematically penalized applicants with non-European sounding names and women applying for tech roles. Just blatant discrimination baked into the code.
Oof, that's bad. So the impact.
It's a massive shot across the bow for global tech. The message is crystal clear. Ignore the AI Act at your peril. Non-compliance is going to be incredibly expensive.
It really tests that whole Brussels effect idea, doesn't it? The EU setting global standards through its market power.
Exactly. Compliance isn't just a legal checkbox anymore. It's strategic. It's geopolitical. You have to factor it in from day one.
So regulation is biting hard. But AI's promise isn't just about HR systems, right?
Yeah.
What about the truly revolutionary stuff like medicine?
Ah, yes. From the stick of regulation to the carrot of, well, potentially life-saving breakthroughs, we saw what some are calling a potential penicillin moment for drug discovery. AI designing its first drug entirely from scratch, and it's already in human trials.
Okay, that sounds genuinely groundbreaking. Tell us more.
It's Isomorphic Labs, Google DeepMind's sister company focused on drug discovery. They announced Phase I clinical trials for a drug codenamed ISO 2507.
Phase I, so early human testing.
Yeah.
And what's the drug for?
A specific type of rare cancer. But the striking thing, the real headline, is how it was created. It was conceived entirely de novo from the ground up by AI.
Not just optimizing existing compounds, but designing a new molecule.
Precisely. They leveraged AlphaFold 3, their super powerful protein folding and molecular interaction prediction model, to design this molecule and predict its effects with incredible accuracy, apparently.
The impact there must be huge.
Potentially revolutionary. Think about slashing drug development times and costs. It's validating this whole tech bio space, drawing in massive investment. But
There's always a but.
there is. It throws up big questions for regulators like the FDA, the WHO. How do you evaluate a drug designed by a black box AI? How do you ensure safety and efficacy when the discovery process itself isn't fully transparent? It's a new frontier for them, too.
Fascinating. So AI is designing molecules, but what's powering the AI itself? Let's talk hardware. Who's winning the chip war? Intel seems to be making a comeback.
Yeah, that was another big piece of news from the 7th. Intel is definitely back in the fight, putting serious pressure on TSMC's long-held dominance. This could really shake up the foundation for future AI.
What did they announce specifically?
Two key things. First, really impressive manufacturing yields for their upcoming 14A node. That's their next-gen chip process. Good yields mean they can actually produce these advanced chips reliably and cost-effectively. Second, a major cloud partnership, suggesting big players are trusting their roadmap.
Okay, good yields, cloud deals.
Yeah.
But what's the striking technical element?
It's their power via technology. Basically, it delivers power to the transistors from the back of the chip, not the front.
Why does that matter?
It frees up space on the front for more complex wiring, crucial for performance. But importantly, it's much more energy efficient. And for the kind of massive, power-hungry chips needed for AI, that's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Possibly a strategic edge over TSMC and Samsung right now.
So this isn't just engineers geeking out over nanometers.
Not at all. This is deeply geopolitical. It's about technological sovereignty. Think about the U.S. CHIPS Act, the EU CHIPS Act. Governments are pouring billions into securing their own semiconductor supply chains. Who makes the most advanced chips basically controls the pace and maybe even the sustainability of AI progress globally.
Right. Control the silicon, control the future. Okay, so speaking of controlling the future and fundamental shifts, a French startup just dropped an open source model that's apparently taking on the giants.
Yes. Mistral AI. They made waves with their new Magistral-Pro model. It's being framed as a major challenge to the big closed models from OpenAI, Google, Anthropic.
Okay, Mistral. They've been known for strong open models before. What's special about Magistral-Pro?
Well, it's an 80 billion parameter model, so it's hefty. But the key is they released it in an open weight format. That means researchers and companies can download the model's core components, inspect them, build on them.
And
Crucially, it's licensed for commercial use, freely available, and benchmarks suggest it's competing head-to-head with models like GPT-4.5, especially on complex reasoning tasks. That's a direct challenge to the paper API closed box approach.
So the impact. This must be pouring fuel on the open versus closed debate.
Absolutely. It turbocharges competition, pushes transparency. If you can get comparable performance for free, why pay? But it also brings up the usual security worries. What happens when powerful open models fall into the wrong hands? Can they be misused for disinformation, cyber attacks?
The double-edged sword of open source.
Exactly. Mistral's strategy, often a kind of hybrid releasing powerful open weights while also offering optimized commercial versions, might end up creating a whole new standard in the market. It's one to watch.
Definitely. So models get more powerful, more accessible, open or closed. What's the real-world effect on jobs? On the economy? Is AI finally boosting productivity?
The productivity paradox. Well, according to a major report that also dropped, the answer seems to be yes, but it's complicated.
Tell me about the report.
It was a joint effort by the World Economic Forum and MIT. They analyzed G7 economies and found a measurable macroeconomic productivity gain, about 2.5% directly attributable to generative AI. This could finally be the answer to the long-standing Salo paradox, seeing computers everywhere except in the productivity statistics.
Okay, 2.5% gain.
Yeah.
That sounds significant. Good news then.
Well, yes and no. The striking and maybe worrying part is how that gain is distributed. The report shows growing wage polarization. High-skill workers, those who can leverage AI, are seeing salaries rise.
But
Middle-skill, middle-class workers, their wages are stagnating. And there's clear evidence of job destruction in routine administrative and back-office roles. The gains aren't lifting all boats equally.
so AI makes the economy more productive overall, but concentrates wealth and displaces certain workers. That sounds disruptive.
Deeply disruptive. It challenges our standard 20th century economic models. It forces really tough political questions about wealth distribution, social safety nets. Suddenly, ideas like universal basic income, UBI, aren't just fringe theories. They're being seriously discussed as potential solutions for a just transition.
A just transition. That brings us back to fairness, especially when AI isn't just sorting resumes or boosting GDP, but making really high-stakes decisions. Like who gets a loan?
Yeah.
Is AI fair in finance?
Well, the ACLU certainly doesn't think so in one prominent case. They've essentially declared war on what they call discriminatory lending AI. They launched a major lawsuit against a big bank.
Okay, who are they targeting?
The suit is against Global Finance Corp, likely a pseudonym in early reports over their credit score AI algorithm.
And the allegation?
That the algorithm engages in digital redlining. Basically, the modern equivalent of denying services based on neighborhood or race. The ACLU claims it disproportionately denies loans or jacks up interest rates for minority applicants, even when controlling for other financial factors.
How can they prove that if the AI is a black box?
That's the striking part. Independent auditors apparently use sophisticated techniques like counterfactual explanations asking, what if this variable changed, to probe the AI's decisions, and they found statistically significant bias piercing that black box argument.
So the impact here is about accountability.
Precisely. It echoes earlier scandals, like the Compass algorithm used in sentencing. It reinforces the idea that companies are responsible for the outcomes of their algorithms, even if they claim not to understand exactly how they work. It also highlights the absolutely critical need for independent, rigorous algorithmic auditing. It's becoming essential for justice, for democracy, really.
Auditing the algorithms. Okay.
Hmm.
From the ethics of specific AIs, let's zoom out to the ecosystem. Meta, Facebook's parent company, just revealed a pretty ambitious strategy, didn't they? They seem to want to control the whole AI pipeline.
Yeah, that was the big takeaway from their LlamaCon 2025 event. Meta isn't just playing the game of building big models like Llama 4, which they also announced, by the way, multimodal, huge context window.
10 million tokens, I read.
Oh,
Incredible.
incredible context, yeah. But the striking thing wasn't just the model, it was the total infrastructure strategy they laid out. They're clearly aiming to own the stack, from their own custom AI chips, codenamed Artemis, all the way up to a major focus on on-device AI, running efficiently on phones and maybe future wearables, and integrating Llama agents, autonomous AI helpers across all their apps. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, everywhere.
So it's not just about offering Llama models, even open-weight ones. It's about creating a whole meta AI universe.
Exactly. It's like a silent infrastructure war. They want to lock in developers by providing this seamless, integrated, easy-to-use ecosystem, build on Meta chips, deploy easily to Meta devices and apps, use Meta's tools. It's a powerful flywheel strategy if they can pull it off. It could fundamentally redefine how AI gets built and deployed at scale.
A self-sustaining ecosystem. Makes sense. But as AI gets everywhere, integrated into everything, this fundamental question keeps coming up. What about the data? Especially the data used to train these powerful models. Who owns that? Are creators getting a fair deal?
The copyright battle. It's heating up significantly. Authors, artists, musicians, they're fighting back against what they see as mass theft of their work to train AI. And the Authors Guild just launched a really interesting counterattack.
Not just another lawsuit.
Well, lawsuits are ongoing, but this is different. It's proactive. They've launched a fairly trained certification label.
Okay, like a fair trade label, but for AI training data.
Kind of, yeah. The idea is AI companies can get this label if they can prove their models were trained only on data they had the legal rights to use either public domain material or, crucially, licensed content.
And how do they facilitate that licensing?
That's the second part. They've also launched a collective licensing platform. So creators can opt in, define their terms, and AI companies can license vast amounts of content legally, providing a revenue stream back to the creators.
So the striking element is creating a market solution.
Exactly. It's a strategic pivot. Instead of just playing defense with lawsuits after the infringement happens, they're trying to build a viable, ethical alternative, a market for clean data. This forces AI companies to make a choice: face mounting legal risks and reputational damage, or pay for licensed data and get the fairly trained stamp of approval.
That could actually shift the economics of AI development and influence copyright law globally.
It definitely could. It's a smart move.
Yeah.
Okay, so from the world of words and images, let's pivot completely to the factory floor. AI isn't just virtual, it's getting deeply physical in manufacturing. Volkswagen and Siemens are building something they call the industrial metaverse.
Industrial metaverse. That sounds less like avatars floating around and more practical.
Much more practical. Forget cartoonish social spaces. This is about creating a highly detailed, dynamic, living digital twin of VW's massive Wolfsburg car factory, one of the largest in the world.
A digital twin, so a virtual replica.
A full virtual replica, yes, but continuously updated. It's constantly fed with real-time data from thousands, maybe millions of sensors all over the actual factory. Machines, robots, logistics, energy consumption, everything.
Okay, that's complex. What's the striking tech behind it?
They're using something called a manufacturing event mesh architecture. Think of it like a super fast nervous system for the factory, processing all that sensor data instantly. This allows the digital twin not just to mirror the present, but to run simulations, predict problems like a machine failing before it happens, and even automatically optimize workflows for efficiency or energy use.
So it's predictive and self-optimizing. That sounds like Industry 5.0, maybe.
That's exactly how they're framing it. Moving beyond just automation, Industry 4.0, towards systems that are more resilient, more sustainable, and actually more human-centric because they free up workers for more complex tasks.
And the impact.
It fundamentally redefines manufacturing. But it also shows that this kind of industrial transformation isn't just coming from Silicon Valley tech bros. It's being driven by traditional engineering powerhouses like VW and Siemens. It proves the metaverse concept has serious industrial applications far beyond gaming or social media.
Right. Connected the physical and digital. But as soon as you connect everything, doesn't that just explode the potential for things to go wrong?
Hmm.
Security-wise.
You hit the nail on the head, and unfortunately, July 7th brought news on that front too. A really nasty cybersecurity threat emerged, targeting potentially millions of devices.
Okay, what's this one called? They always have catchy names.
This one's dubbed MeshMelt, and it's serious. CISA, the U.S. cybersecurity agency, issued an urgent alert about it.
What does it affect?
It's a fundamental flaw discovered in the Zigbee 3.0 wireless communication protocol.
Zigbee. Isn't that used in tons of smart home devices?
Yeah.
Lights, locks, sensors, also industrial IoT stuff.
Exactly. It's everywhere in those low-power mesh networks where devices talk directly to each other, and that's what makes MeshMelt so dangerous.
How so? What's the striking vulnerability?
The flaw allows an attacker, if they can compromise just one device on the Zigbee mesh network, to potentially spread that compromise rapidly to all the other devices on the same network, like melting through the mesh connections.
Whoa. So one weak link breaks the whole chain. What could attackers do?
Widespread control. Imagine turning off all the smart lights in a city block, unlocking doors, disabling industrial sensors. Or worse, corralling all these compromised devices into a massive botnet for launching huge denial-of-service attacks. Think Mirai 2.0, but potentially much larger and harder to fix.
That sounds bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. What's the broader impact?
It's a stark reminder of the massive security debt we've built up in the Internet of Things. So many cheap, quickly developed devices, often with minimal security baked in, and they're incredibly hard to patch once deployed. This flaw is in the protocol itself, making it even harder. It just screams for security by design to be taken seriously from the very beginning, especially for foundational technologies like communication protocols.
A sobering thought. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground just from one day's news. Regulation, drug discovery, chip wars, open source, economics, ethics, ecosystems, copyright, manufacturing, cybersecurity. If we step back, what are the big overarching themes you see here?
I think three really stand out. First, this incredible convergence of revolutions. AI isn't just its own revolution, it's acting like a meta-technology, a catalyst, dramatically accelerating breakthroughs in almost every other field, from medicine to material science to manufacturing.
Right, it's an accelerant.
Exactly. Second, it really feels like the end of regulatory innocence. We've moved past debating principles. Now it's about enforcement, about compliance becoming a real cost of doing business. It's creating a whole new industry around AI compliance and auditing. The Wild West days are ending, or at least the sheriffs are starting to shoot back. The battle of openness, this constant tension, this clash between centralized, controlled, proprietary AI from the big tech giants and the push for decentralized, transparent, open source innovation. It's not clear who wins or if it'll be a mix, but that fight is fundamentally shaping the market structure, the power dynamics, and ultimately who benefits from AI.
Convergence, regulation taking hold, and the open versus closed battle. That really captures the dynamic. So for you, our listener, what's the takeaway? It shows the future here isn't set in stone, right?
Not at all.
It's being built right now by decisions made today, by policymakers, by researchers, by companies, and by us as citizens. So stay informed, be critical, ask the hard questions, demand transparency, and participate somehow in shaping how this incredibly powerful technology gets woven into our lives. Think about it. What kind of future do you actually want AI to help us build? Join us tomorrow on RG News for the day's AI news. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell.